In 1990, a construction crew south of Jerusalem was cutting into a hillside when the ground gave way beneath them. They had broken into a sealed room that had not been opened in 2,000 years. Inside was a stone box, carved, ornate, and on the side of it, a name. The name belonged to one of the men who sent Jesus to die, and it was the least strange thing that happened to any of them. Because within 40 years of the crucifixion, nearly every man responsible for it was gone. One hanged himself, one was erased from history by his own government, one was exiled to the edge of the known world, and one, the most powerful of them all, simply vanished and was not seen again until a bulldozer found him by accident 20 centuries later. This is what happened to each of them. And the order matters more than it looks. Start with the man who handed him over. Everyone knows how Judas Iscariot died. The problem is that the Bible tells the story twice, and the two versions do not match. Matthew says this: Judas is seized by remorse. He runs to the temple. He throws down the 30 pieces of silver, all of it, and he walks out into a field and hangs himself. Now the book of Acts. Same man, same silver. But here Judas keeps the money. He buys the field himself, and he dies in it. Not by rope, but by a fall so violent the text says his body split open on the ground. Two authors, decades apart, two completely different deaths for the same man. For 2,000 years, readers have tried to force them together. He hanged himself, and then the rope broke, and then he fell. A patch. A guess. Nobody actually knows. But here is the part both accounts agree on. Both of them, independently, record the same detail: the field that was bought with the money. And both record what the people of Jerusalem started calling it: the field of blood. The one man whose death the Gospels bothered to record, and they couldn't agree on how he died. Everyone else in this story died in the dark, in sources written long after the fact, starting with the two men who paid him. Caiaphas was the high priest of Jerusalem. It was in his courtyard that the sentence was decided, and he held his office for 18 years. That number is the whole story, if you know what to do with it. Under Roman rule, the high priesthood was a revolving door. The governors hired and fired high priests almost on a whim. Most lasted a year, 2 if they were lucky. Caiaphas lasted 18, which means Caiaphas was not a holy man who got unlucky. He was a survivor, a political operator who kept the most dangerous seat in Jerusalem warm through the entire reign of one Roman governor, a governor whose name you already know and who is coming up next. And here is the twist in his story. He didn't fall because of anything he did. He fell because his protector fell. In the year 36, a single Roman official arrived and cleaned house, and removed both the governor and the high priest within months of each other. One decision. Both men. Gone. And then Caiaphas does something none of the others do. He disappears. No death, no execution, no final scene. The most powerful religious figure in Jerusalem simply stops appearing in every record, everywhere, at once, as if he were erased. For 1900 years, that was the end of Caiaphas, a man who vanished. And then the bulldozer. 1990, that collapsed hillside, that sealed room, that carved stone box, the kind used to hold human bones, and the name on the side in Aramaic that scholars read as Joseph, son of Caiaphas. Inside were the bones of a man of about 60. Many archaeologists believe they are looking at the actual remains of the high priest who condemned Jesus, found not by a search but by accident, by workers who had no idea what they had cracked open. The man who erased himself from history was dug up by a machine that wasn't looking for him. Now, the governor who fell beside him, Pontius Pilate. He signed the order. His name is spoken in Christian creeds to this day by millions of people every week, and nobody knows how he died. We know how he fell. The year 36 again. Pilate massacres a crowd of Samaritans at a mountain they held sacred. They complain to Rome. The same Roman official who removed Caiaphas removes Pilate too, and orders him back to Rome to stand before the emperor and answer for it. Pilate begins the long journey to Rome to face judgment, and by the time he arrives, the emperor is dead. And there, right there, the historical record simply stops. The man vanishes, so people filled the silence. They needed an ending, so they built one. The historian Eusebius passes on a rumor that Pilate lost everything and killed himself. Later legends go further. His body thrown into the river Tiber, the waters turning violent and refusing it. The corpse moved again and again until it was finally sunk in a freezing lake high in the Alps. There is a mountain in Switzerland named Pilatus. Some say it is named for him. For the body the earth would not keep still. None of it can be proven. Not one word. Think about what that means. The single most famous judge in human history, the man who physically condemned Jesus, died so obscurely that the human race had to invent his death 3 separate times just to give the story an ending. 2 rulers left, and one of them treated the whole thing as a joke. During the trial, Jesus was sent to a king, Herod Antipas, ruler of Galilee for over 40 years, And according to Luke, he questioned Jesus, got no answers, mocked him, dressed him in a robe like a costume, and sent him back. He treated a man's execution as entertainment. 40 years in power, son of Herod the Great, untouchable, and it was his own greed that destroyed him. In the year 39, Antipas sails to Rome with one goal. He wants a promotion. He is a tetrarch, a minor ruler, and he wants to be called king. So he goes to the emperor to ask for the crown. But he had a nephew, a rival inside his own family named Agrippa, who wanted what Antipas wanted. And while Antipas is in Rome asking for a crown, his nephew's agents arrive with a letter. It accuses Antipas of treason, of plotting against the emperor himself. The emperor believes it. Antipas came to Rome to be made a king. He left it with nothing, stripped of his land, his money, his title, and sent into exile at the far western edge of the empire, in what is now France. He died there, 1,000 miles from the throne, destroyed not by an enemy, but by his own family and his own ambition. The man who laughed at the trial died as far from power as the empire could send him. One name left, and it is the oldest and the most dangerous of all of them. Before Jesus was brought to Caiaphas, he was brought to another man first, an old man, one who no longer even held the title of high priest, and yet everyone understood he was still the one in charge. His name was Annas, and Annas was not just a priest, he was a dynasty. Follow this. Annas was high priest, then removed, but he never left power, because he replaced himself with his own blood. 5 of his sons became high priest. His son-in-law, Caiaphas, became high priest. One family, one man's house, holding the highest office in the nation, over and over, for more than 50 years. The historian Josephus says Annas was considered the most fortunate man in Jerusalem, because he lived to see son after son after son take the highest seat in the land. A man who had everything, and kept it, and passed it down. Here is how it ended. A generation later, the last of his sons to hold the office is in power when Jerusalem descends into chaos before the war with Rome, and the rebels who seize the city drag him out, this son of the great house of Annas, and they kill him in the street, and they throw his body out without burial. The unthinkable end for the highest family in the nation. The old man who first ordered the arrest built a house that looked eternal, and within one lifetime it was pulled into the street and left in the dust, along with everything else in Jerusalem. Because there is one last thing that died, and it is bigger than any single man. The men are named, but they did not act alone. They served an institution, a council, a temple, a whole machine of power, and that machine has the most certain ending of all of them, because we know exactly when it died, and exactly how. The year 66, Judea revolts against Rome. 4 years of war. And in the year 70, the Roman general Titus surrounds Jerusalem, breaks the walls, and burns the temple to the ground. Josephus watched it happen. He describes the fire, the city leveled. And in a single season, all of it ends at once. The temple, the priesthood, the council that condemned Jesus, the entire world these men had ruled. It has never been rebuilt, not in 2,000 years. Every man in this story held power that looked permanent. 18 years, 40 years, 50 years, a dynasty, a temple that had stood for centuries. And within one lifetime of that one trial, every office, every title, every man, and the city itself was gone. 6 men decided the outcome of a single afternoon. 1 hanged himself in a field within days. 2 were removed by the same official, in the same year, by a single stroke of a pen. 1 was exiled to the ends of the earth by his own nephew. 1 built a dynasty that was dragged into the street and destroyed. And the council itself, and the temple it met in, burned to the ground. None of them was ever punished for what they did. No court sentenced them. History simply moved through them, one by one, and closed the door behind each one, until the most powerful man among them left behind nothing at all, nothing but a box of bones, sealed in the dark, waiting 2,000 years for a machine that wasn't even looking, to dig him back up. There are more of these on the channel. Tell me in the comments who you want found next.